honey fell from the queen's cake onto the railing of the balcony. Her trusted advisor noticed and said,
"Shall I clean up this honey, your highness?"
"Oh no, it's not our problem. Someone else will take care of it."
And so the queen continued eating her rice cake with honey, and as the honey melted in the sun, it dripped onto the street below. And attracted by the sweet smell of flies, landed on the drop of honey and started to eat it. Again, her trusted advisor asked,
"Shall I head down to the street to clean up the honey, your highness?"
"Oh no, it's not our problem. Someone else will take care of it."
And suddenly, a gecko jumped on the fly and ate it in one gulp, which got the attention of a dog, of a cat, excuse me, of a cat, who tackled the gecko. The cat, wrestling with the gecko, caught the attention of a dog who jumped in and started a fight with the cat, at which point the advisor pleaded with the queen.
"Your highness, there is now interspecies animal combat." "Oh, because of that drop of honey. Shall I call someone to take care of it?"
"Oh no, it's not our problem. Here come the dog and cat owners. They'll take care of it."
So the queen continued to eat her rice cake with the cut honey on it, while below in the street, the cat's owner began beating the dog. And soon the two animal owners were in a fight themselves. The queen, horrified now at having a fight break out in her street, shouted,
"Call my guards at once. Have them put a stop to all this fighting."
The palace guards were called, but by the time they arrived, friends and neighbors had chosen sides and jumped into the fray. The guards chose sides themselves and joined the battle. Houses were burned, the palace caught fire and burned to the ground. The queen's rule was finished. And we can see that really important things, a nation or a friendship, can be lost or won over something as small as a drop of honey. The queen's rule was finished, and new wisdom was won among the people. What we each do and don't do makes a big difference.
Okay, now.
You sure?
Yeah, now.
Okay.
Under a rock, out on a limb, or floating on the river with my face to the wind, talking to the moon like it's a long lost friend, and wonder where hope might be. If I can't find hope, I hope it finds me. In the bark of a dog, or the blush of dawn, inside the thinking of a plan gone wrong, woven like diamonds in the words of a song. I wonder, is that where hope might be? If I can't find hope, I hope it finds me. Hope doesn't hold the answers. It can only listen to our prayers. We can soar like eagles or sink like stones. Hope will always be right there. With the very first smile of a newborn child, the faces of lovers as they walk down the aisle, behind the eyes of a loved one with two that's where hope might be. That's where hope might be. And if you can't find hope, I hope it finds me. And if I can't find hope, I hope it finds me. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Do you guys want to stay up there or you want to come down? You happy there?
Yeah, we're good. We're pretty happy. It's nice here.
Excellent. Oh, totally. Totally. I get that. Okay, thanks. Are you good without God? Are you? Oh. As far as I know. Excellent. Being good without God is a great way to explain what a humanist is. I'm a humanist, which means in part that I've tried to behave decently without any expectation of rewards or punishments after I'm dead. That's Kurt Vonnegut's definition, and if you like it, you might be a humanist too. And you'd be in very distinguished company, along with Bertrand Russell, Francis Bacon, Warren Buffett. It's a long list, so I'm going to speed up. Walt Whitman, Winston Churchill, John Dietrich, Erasmus, John Dewey, Mark Twain, Margaret Atwood, Charles Darwin, David Hume, Jean-Paul Sartre, John Stuart Mill, Carl Sagan, Salman Rushdie, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Langston Hughes, Voltaire, Confucius, Bill Gates, Albert Einstein, Anthony Pinn, and many more. Humanism is one of the 4 largest life stances or worldviews on earth, along with Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism, writes Harvard chaplain Greg Epstein in his book entitled Good Without God, What a Billion Non-Religious People Do Believe. If you identify as atheist, agnostic, Buddhist, naturalist, non-religious, pagan, pantheist, you could probably consider yourself a humanist too. Without supernaturalism, humanism affirms our ability and responsibility to lead ethical lives, aspiring to the greater good of humanity. It's an important term and a core part of our tradition, and one that I haven't heard that often since I've been here, curiously enough. Although I'm certain that people who are coming to check us out here at this fellowship are people who don't want to repeat creeds they don't believe, or support institutions that don't protect and promote human and civil rights. Which is certainly not to say that everyone here agrees on all the current political or social issues. It is simply to say that here you are not asked to say one thing when you believe another. That integrity is one reason people come to this fellowship. And it's also why some people decide they are indeed humanists and good without God. Now, I've found that here in Oregon, or at least in Portland, the prevailing position might even be that you're better off without God. I say this based not just on surveys and studies. Oregon and Washington have historically been called the buckle of the unchurched belt, but on personal experience. When Emerge was looking for a place to hold an event, several Portland establishments told us the owner doesn't want to do business with anything or anyone religious. I was surprised, or maybe even shocked, that Portland proprietors would not want to be associated with the interfaith movement for immigrant justice, a pluralist, progressive embodiment of the best of religion, an example of people of many faiths and no faith working together for human rights and the dignity of all people. But they were clear. They were not going to associate with anyone associated with anything religious. I felt like I was tasting the difference between being good with God versus being anti-God. So I want to be really clear this morning that the new humanism, which Epstein writes about and which this fellowship embodies and inherited, we're going to get to some history in just a moment, is not anti-God. We understand what people mean when they are planning a memorial or a wedding or a child dedication and say, I don't want it to be too religious. They'd like a minister to officiate, but they don't want the ceremony or ritual to be too churchy. They don't want such a special moment to include aspects of religion that have no meaning to them. You don't want these significant life-changing transitions to be filled with empty religious words. Instead, you want words that resonate with what seems real and true. And because so many of us find our values and inspiration outside religious traditions today, drawing inspiration from the natural world, from science, from history and the arts, from philosophy, poetry, and prose, those sources are what make these transitional moments transformational. If you already identify as Unitarian Universalist, you won't be surprised then that humanism has been and continues to be one of three major influences in our tradition. The other two major influences are, and I'm tempted to have you guess, but I won't. The other two major influences are Christianity and transcendentalism. Christianity, which we will explore this summer as part of our summer sermon series. This is the first of a 4-part series. It's really exploring our religious roots. I'll speak about universalism in June, and then about Unitarianism in July as we celebrate our country's 250th birthday by exploring the amazing and intimate connections between our faith and this nation's founders. And then third, transcendentalism, through which writers like Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, people you study in high school, Theodore Parker, and Margaret Fuller, all Unitarians, how they pushed Unitarianism itself away from rationalism toward nature, intuition, and direct spiritual experience, dissolving Christian exclusivity and opening to Eastern traditions. Humanism, the first influence we're exploring together, as you may know, has its roots in reason, emphasizing human beings' inherent dignity and limitless potential. Most of us learned about the emergence of democracy and humanist values when we studied the ancient Greeks. Am I right? Remember that? Remember studying that? It's a Roman writer, Cicero, who said, I am human and nothing human is alien to me. But I find it equally inspiring and important even that there are humanist traditions in other cultures and countries predating European humanism by many hundreds of years. For instance, there's the Lokayata movement, which thrived in India around 1000 before the Common Era, which criticized the Hindu religion of the day and developed a naturalistic understanding of the cosmos. 400 years later, in the 6th century before the Common Era, the Charvaka school of thought in India asserted that there are no gods, no immortal soul, and they were promoting a moral philosophy centered on human welfare. It's fascinating, isn't it? Chinese philosophers, also in the 6th century before the Common Era, are notable for their humanistic, ethical philosophies and their skepticism about the supernatural. The great Taoist Lao Tzu, for example, once said, if lightning is the anger of the gods, then the gods are concerned mostly with trees. And Confucius, also in China, replaced traditional religious beliefs with an ethical system focused on human relationships, responsibility to family and society, creating harmony, with little, if any, reference to divine intervention. Soon in Europe, Greek and Latin thinkers were cultivating in the same garden. Socrates turning philosophy toward human ethics and self-knowledge rather than cosmology. Aristotle grounding morality in human nature and flourishing rather than in divine command. Epicurus saying, there's nothing to fear in God, there's nothing to feel in death, good can be achieved and evil can be endured. Then, with the rise of Christianity as the official religion of Rome and the subsequent collapse of classical civilizations in the West, the human-centered worldview was largely lost. This is like, sorry about this little sort of history lesson this morning, but won't last too long. Theology came to dominate intellectual life. The question was no longer, what does reason tell us, but what does revelation require of us? God, not humanity, became the measure of all things, bringing us 1,000 years, sometimes we call them the Dark Ages, of theological polarization and violence, including the Crusades and the Inquisition. The Renaissance, which we all also studied sometime, the Renaissance was a reawakening and a return to the primacy of reason and science, of philosophy and democracy, of human dignity and human rights. But it's interesting to note that Renaissance humanism was not yet secular. Most of its practitioners were devout Christians who believed classical learning and Christianity were complementary, as many still do today. Nevertheless, humanism spread through education, the studia humanitatis, and poetry, history, moral philosophy, and rhetoric became the curriculum of a new kind of learning aimed at forming well-rounded, civic-minded human beings. Okay, here's why we're talking about this morning, okay? Protests against the popes and the bishops of the church emerged from these powerful humanist explorations, leading to the Protestant Reformation. Did you notice Kristen in the call to worship said there are no Protestant clergy at the prayer launch thing today in Washington, D.C.? That's why. Those humanist thoughts led to the Protestant Reformation. Early Unitarians in what was then Transylvania, which is now Romania, began questioning core doctrines like the Trinity and eternal damnation, edging Christianity towards something more rational and human-centered. This fellowship and all our congregations across the country are direct descendants. You are direct descendants of this period of rebirth and reformation in Europe. There are churches in Europe that have been Unitarian for 450 years. They are Christian Unitarian churches, continuous. As Unitarian Universalists today in the United States of America, we retain and lift up these proud roots in humanism from the Enlightenment to this day. And in an age of quickly creeping dehumanization, humanism might be just the right banner to raise, as David Brooks puts it. Humanism might be the right banner to raise, pointing us to the posture, the skills, the way of life that make us caring and effective co-workers, teachers, citizens, lovers, and friends. So in a country where half of all Americans still say they would refuse to vote for a well-qualified atheist candidate for public office, half of all Americans still, I ask again, are you good without God? Nodding with a smile on her face. If your definition of religion is anything close to this one, written by Curtis Reese, an early 20th century humanist theologian and Unitarian minister, religion is associated with the best man does or thinks or dreams, then yes might be your answer. If you agree with Reverend Christine Robinson, who writes, "Religion, which gives our lives meaning and purpose, is too important to be based on unprovable beliefs such as believe in God. I base my religion on the fulfillment of human life and the development of human potential." Then yes might be your answer. If I'm asking you, it's only fair to ask myself, am I good without God? If being a humanist means I have the right to belittle other people for their belief in God, then no, I am not. If humanism is belief in a cold, rational materialism that doesn't respect emotional intelligence or the wisdom of the body, then no, I am not. If humanism demands a belief that religion is the cause of all wars and the root of all evil, then no, I am not. If humanism means agreeing with Sam Harris, who said science must destroy religion, then no, I am not. Or if it means, as documentary filmmaker Bill Maher said, for humanity to live, religion must die, then no, I'm not a humanist. But in times like these, when people are longing for a humane philosophy and humane social customs to counter the anti-human and anti-humane influences of social media, of AI, of this and other global administrations, we can and we must move past pitting facts against faith, faith against logic, logic against poetry, poetry against science, science against intuition, intuition against analysis, analysis against reverence, reverence against reason. 21st century humanism is about learning how to live together in a complex and mysterious world with respect and dignity for all. And our religion is not in here 1 hour a week. Our religion is how we live our lives out in the world. It's about what we do more than what we believe. We come here to be inspired, to be challenged, to be comforted, to learn, to grow. And then we leave. And that's where we live our faith. That's where we live our religion. That's what really makes a difference. Some of us are inspired more by nature, others by Buddhist teachings or mindfulness, others by science, some by painting and poetry, perhaps even including sacred scriptures. Some people are comforted by quiet contemplation or meditation, others by music and singing and dancing, others by pagan rituals, others still by praying to God. Some people can't stand the fact that we do this or we do that. But as Unitarian Universalists, we want to make room for all those who want to be a part of this pluralist tradition, to feel welcome here and know that they truly belong. Because we're attempting to create the most inclusive community possible within the circle of our shared values, purpose, and commitment to the common good. We do this because throughout time, in all religious traditions, there has been a notion or a sense that the human family is truly one and waiting to be united, despite the fact that the human family has consistently been divided by race and religion and ridiculousness, and by color, class, creed, and culture. So, are we here at the Gorge UU Fellowship good without God? Yep. If 21st century humanism means being fully committed to making this life as good as it possibly can be for as many people as possible, then yes, we are proud humanists. Maybe I should have you say the yes with me if you're ready. If it means cleaning up the spilled honey, then yes. If it means giving back to others in equal measure to what we've been given, then yes. If it means feeling awe at the stars in the sky at night and being inspired by the greening of the grass in spring, then yes. If being a humanist means we are committed to religious literacy and interfaith cooperation, then we are passionate humanists. If it means trusting and relying on each other to make a difference in our lives, in the lives of others, here and now, because we believe in life before death, then if it means being progressive and accepting responsibility to help each other make progress toward a world that will be fairer, more just, and more loving, then if the foundation of humanist belief is that each and every person and every family deserves the same respect, so single parents, gay parents, lesbian parents, bisexual and transgender parents, intercultural, interracial, and interfaith couples are all equal, no matter what God they do or don't believe in, then we are humanists. Because non-believers are believers too. We believe in humanism, and goodness and godlessness go very well together, as it always has been and ever shall be. I love humanism, and I love you.